The TPC is upon us. We'll talk a little bit about the Arnold Palmer and how rough it was over the weekend. Look at the weather forecast, perhaps, for the TPC and all the nuances of this course and this loaded field. Coming up next on the next Gaming Golf. Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Golf. This week, it's a big week. It's the TPC. It's upon us. Amazing loaded field. We've said it a few times this week, but it's really true this week again. I'm Jeff Erickson here with Scott Jenstad and Jeff Ritter. Scott with RotoWire, Jeff with SI Golf and Morning Read. Jeff, let's start with you. Your take on the Arnold Palmer. Big win for Scottie Scheffler, 2 in his last 3 tournaments. On fire right now.
Enjoyed the Arnold Palmer. Obviously, we knew Scheffler was one of those best player without a tour title, probably at the top of the list heading into this year, given what he did at the Ryder Cup. And even the fact he was on the Ryder Cup team without even winning a PGA Tour event. I mean, it spoke to what his fellow tour pros or what the captains thought of him as a player to put him on that team. Yep. And he certainly has paid off, the idea of a star in the making. Now we win 2 events and the events that he won in such close proximity to each other. And now you're talking about a guy who's, just like that has elevated himself into the upper echelon into the top tier of players, top now in the world. And, how dangerous is he now for the players? Usually you don't say, we talk about it a lot. A guy wins his first event ever. You tend to kind of fade him the next week, but now that he's got 2 and just comes in, flying high, it's impossible not to look at him now in a completely new light. And as someone that we put in that tier of the McIlroys and the Rahms and Hoblins, all these other guys we've been talking about every week as top tier players. Scheffler played his way into it.
There's a path for him to be number 1 in the world if everything works out right this week. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just like that. I mean, to go from new tour winner to potentially number 1 if things break his way and he wins. So quite a rise.
Yeah, a little disappointed I didn't have him on the betting card last week, although I can't be too mad because we already won on him on Phoenix. But it was a wild event. I thought that Hoblin was kind of going to roll in midday Saturday, and then all of a sudden everybody came back. Then I had Matthew Fitzpatrick at -3 on Sunday. I'm like, wow, this might get all the way back to him. And a couple birdies here, he was right back into it. It was a weird, tough event. I think Rory complained about the setup afterwards, and I don't know. I like tough setups. I like a little easier setup than that. I kind of like a -10 to 12 kind of tournament rather than that. But it was fun to watch. It's always fun to watch when par is a good score. But there were some brutal rounds from pros on Sunday. I mean, Paul Casey shot 83, and Will Z was +7 after 8 holes, and that was like, all right, well, I guess I can stop looking at that one. But it's fun to watch. I kind of like a little bit easier than that. I know I'm probably in the minority there with you guys. I know you guys like tough courses, but it seemed like Sunday was just brutal.
The putting, it's just it was 14 on the stimp meter. I actually played a course recently that was 14. I don't recommend it. It's
guys would miss a 4-footer, and every single time it go 6 feet past. It was crazy. It wasn't just the miss; it was the fact that you had another putt coming back almost. You're
putting on a cart path.
Yeah,
practically.
It's so tough.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they just got the weather. I mean, they set it up on edge, which is, I think, almost what Rory said. But then you get the weather, that pushes it even farther than they had planned on. So you have that combination. And I don't know. We don't see it that often where pros pushed to the limit and maybe even just a hair beyond the limit. We know the U.S. Open always sets itself up that way, but it's so rare that this happens that in my opinion, it's still kind of fun to you never know.
Oh, I agree.
I'll take it over the.
Is someone going to collapse back, fall like a dying star into the abyss on Sunday afternoon? You never know. You get a little bit of everything.
I take it over the -28 kind of tournaments any day.
I'd agree.
By the time on the weekends, those just kind of get that fun too.
Yeah, poor Gary Woodland has that massive eagle on 16. You're like, wow, he's really going to get all the way back, and then double bogey right away, bogey again. I mean, it's just relentless, brutal there. Saw Tyrrell Hatton get his game together. He was at one of the middle groups. And he posted a number early. First time playing in the U.S. this year, and had a really nice round, really nice finish to his tournament after a horrible Saturday.
Yeah,
right. Lots of reaction to Cyril Hatton there. All right.
I was waiting for Jeff to talk.
I think Hatton's a fun player. I just, we know about the temper, and we know, that that's often at times limited him at bigger events or held him back. We just see him just lose it on the golf course. But, another guy who was kind of famous for that in big events and prevented him from getting over the hump for a long time was Jon Rahm. And so you wonder if Hatton's starting to get closer to being someone that's able to just kind of manage it under fire. And certainly those conditions were as tough as they get. And I think he's one of the guys that maybe comes out of the week still feeling pretty good. So
did you guys see the 1 yard fairway challenge that he did with Rory and Morikawa?
No,
I did not.
It's an awesome video. They essentially set up like on a racetrack a 1 yard fairway and see if the guys can not only land your drive on there, but also keep it on there. And he has a lot of personality. He's a fun, and Morikawa and Rory kind of mess around with him about his temper and stuff. But you can tell he's a really fun, likable guy. It's a fun little 5-minute video if you watch. I think they did it when they were in one of the European Tour events. But it's wild. These guys can literally hit a 1 yard fairway, not only hit it but have it stick on there.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You watch it, it seems like truly impossible, and then they have a bunch of balls that actually hit the fairway. It's pretty wild.
Well, that's a good lead into talking about the TPC, because driving accuracy is such a big thing here. You don't have to necessarily be a big hitter, but if you can put in the fairway like Morikawa does every time, it's just a huge advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you got 17 water hazards, 88 bunkers, and another one of those courses where, you can make doubles and triples, where we get a lot of these courses where if you make a bogey, that's a bad score, but there are legit doubles and triples out here. I think the big issue this weekend is going to be the weather. It's supposed to be raining on and off. Then we got some wind on Thursday, and then really big wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour projected on Saturday. Obviously, that can change, but that's 2 of the 4 days. Sunday's supposed to be really nice, but Thursday and Saturday, colder, but at least sunny. But Thursday and Saturday is supposed to be really, really windy and some rain. Like in a DraftKings kind of setup, it's one of those weeks where you might want to, we don't know which wave is going to get the advantage, but you may want to play some lineups. You play a bunch of lineups with the waves, so you get play some all AM guys and also all PM guys in case one of them does get a big edge. You have a bunch of guys in the one bracket there,
right? And of course that helps a lot on showdown slates too.
Yeah, for sure. Like if you can find, and the problem that you get into is sometimes it starts raining and the play gets suspended for 3 hours, and suddenly the wave you thought had it good has it bad, and the next wave plays out of the wind. But playing each of them in each of the waves is probably a pretty good way if you do play a lot of lineups.
I do like that strategy. I was sitting here thinking, do you even think about who is a good mutter when you're thinking about like South Florida? Probably not. I mean, this isn't the British where it's
no, but I think you want a guy that plays well on tough courses and tough conditions. I think that does matter this week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the field. I mean, almost everybody is here. Bryson's not here. Phil's not there. Apparently Webb Simpson will be there. We'll get to him in a moment, but let's talk about the top tier. Jon Rahm is still the most expensive golfer on the course at 11-1. Rory McIlroy's at 10-8. Colin Morikawa at 10-7. Justin Thomas, the defending champ, at 10-4. And Victor Hoblin at 10-1. Scott, who do you like here? Are you going to play someone from this tier when you're putting together your lineup?
Yeah, I think the lineup construction question is the key part of this. And with a field this stacked, we do have a ton of options in like the low 7,000s. There are so many great players. So I think you can go one guy up here for sure. You could probably get 2 guys up here. Probably not what I want to do because there's so many 8s and 9s that are really appealing too. But I'm going straight to Morikawa this week. Probably not shocking to anybody that ever has heard me talk about golf. But 4 straight top 10s. Second at Genesis when he last played, gained 6.8 putting. That was kind of a weird week for him, but he also gained 7.7 tee to green. But I mean, if he putts well, like look the heck out. He's only played once in the U.S. since the TOC in January. That was at Genesis. But a course like this where you need to hit the fairway, you need guys to you probably have to club down a little bit on a lot of holes. I think he's the best ball striker on tour. Like I can't argue against anybody in this range, but for me this week, it's Morikawa in the range.
Yeah, I think Morikawa would be my top pick too from the tier. I do think Rory McIlroy is close to finding it. I know he walked off a little grumbly on Sunday from Bay Hill, but he seems close, and he's won a Players before, and we know this is all part of him building up to peak at Augusta, the major he wants more than any other. I have a feeling Morikawa might be the most owned off this tier. So if you just want to go another direction, I might lean Rory, but everything you said about Morikawa is I fault the logic.
The Rahm stuff is wild. We talked last week about how he was playing so well, but just putting badly, and it happened again. He gained 10.1 tee to green and 6.9 approach last week. Like, if he does that, you think he wins the tournament. But he lost 4 strokes on the greens. Like, it's wild. That's 3 tournaments in a row where he hit it great, and he still finished 17th. But, if you're paying $11,000 for Jon Rahm, 17th ain't going to do it. But I don't know. One of these weeks he's going to putt. He's going to gain strokes putting, and he's going to blow everybody away. I just don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, but it's been multiple weeks now with the putting. It's not that used to be a strength.
Yeah, it's around the green too. He's lost strokes around the green 5 straight events. So it's like it's the putting and the short game stuff. It's very strange. It's like, and that's something he used to do well. I don't know if it's just a small blip or something's going on with the short game. But if he figures it out, look out, he's going to kill people. But
now you make me wonder. Sawgrass gets a little soft, slower. That would be what, if you're struggling with your putting, that's what you'd want to see, right? It's just, let's just slow it all down there on the green. So
yeah, he's gonna putt well one of these weeks, and it's gonna be like a 6-shot win. It's just a matter of timing it when it's coming is becoming very difficult because he's really struggling around the green.
Yeah, you got to also love it when his bad week is T21.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
it's absurd. It's absurd how good he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of around the green problems, Victor Hoblin. Good thing there's no sand at Sawgrass to worry about, right? But he's so good everywhere else.
I forget which of the announcers said it, but pretty much said he's just brutal in the bunkers right now on Sunday. Like they were mincing no words there, but I mean, he still gained 10 shots tee to green at 4.7 off the tee, 4.5 approach. He played so well. He's coming off a 4th and a 2nd. Like, it's hard to argue against him, but yeah, you're right. The short game stuff is concerning.
In hindsight, he might not have been the best pick at Whistling Straits last fall, right? But he still played pretty well there, all things considered. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe Sawgrass is a great place. You're not going to hit it in too many bunkers. You're going to splash down. So, but it's funny. It's funny to see a guy that has everything except just like one glaring weakness. Like that is. I mean, Rahm, like you said, he's been a great putter and is just maybe going through a stretch. But Hovland, this is like a thing, and it's sort of bizarre that he's not able to resolve it.
It's crazy how many awesome young players we have on tour right now. I mean, we talk about these guys; they're all just so good. And we're talking about guys in the 8s and 9s, like all just stud young players. It's amazing what a group we have right now.
The ball striking is just unreal how good it is. I hate to spend so much time in the top tier, but we got to at least talk about the defending champ, Justin Thomas. He's playing well. He's in good form.
Yep, and
he's at 10-4. It's not that punitive if you want to go with him.
No, and I think there are builds where you could play 2 guys up here. You kind of have to skip the 9s, which is tough to do with some of the games there. But I mean, he's had 4 starts so far this year, 3 top 10s. Like, defending champ, gained crazy amounts tee to green approach last year. Played here unbelievably well last year. I mean, I can't argue against anybody in this group right now.
Such a FOMO tournament. I'm going to be like, I want to get him in a lineup. I want to get him in a lineup. Next thing you know, I've got like 5, 6, 7 different lineups, and yeah, it's a good way to just wash away any gains you might make with your best lineup.
This course has something for everybody too. I mean, yeah, Justin Thomas has the tee to green game, and that's what carried him last year, but he clipped Lee Westwood at the end, like there's often the old guys can find a way, almost like, at Augusta a few weeks later where
it's like Davis Love winning it that year.
A lot of surprises at Sawgrass. So this course really opens up the whole field to it. So it's one of the fun things about the week.
Yeah, you get some really good stud golfers winning it, and then you get Craig Pert. And never heard from him again, basically. It's wild. You run the gantlet here.
I thought you were going to say you get someone like Ricky Fowler that won here. We never heard from him again.
Yeah. Isn't that his last win?
I don't know. It was an awesome win, though. I think he might have.
No, Phoenix was.
Yeah, he won
Phoenix. His last win. That's right.
His win here was awesome. He was like -6 the last 6 holes, and then birdie 17 twice in the playoff. It was an unbelievable run.
Yeah, I had Sergio that year. It wasn't awesome. But hit the ball already, Sergio. Anyways, it was awesome. Everybody loves Ricky. How can you not love Ricky? Let's move on to the 9,000s. Cantlay is at 99. Dustin Johnson, 98. Xander, 97. Hideki, 96. Cam Smith, 94. Scottie Scheffler, who we've been spending all this time talking about, 92. Spieth, 9,000. How is Scheffler not going to be like 87% owned at 9,200?
I mean, I guess you're still fading the math of just how hard it is to win back-to-back weeks, or
I
how
guess.
insane it would be to win 3 out of 5 events for him if he wins again this week. You just say it's improbable, but the guy's on the biggest heater of his career, and I don't know. That's a low.
And he doesn't have to win to be worth it at 92.
Yeah,
also.
that's such a low price. I would have pegged him another 800 or so higher anyway.
I think
99 also jumps out. What is he doing down? What's he done to drop a tier? I mean, he's probably, other than Scheffler, maybe the best golfer, most consistent golfer so far this season, I would say. Cantlay. That feels like a bargain. And then I feel like Hideki, I think he's going to get a little bit overlooked here, but he does have a 63 on this course that is a footnote in history because it was wiped out at the start of the COVID run.
On my team that year too. That was a lot of fun. Let me tell you.
Not bitter.
Haven't forgotten it at all.
So if the golf gods have a heart, you'd hope Hideki is the round 1 leader, and then you take the chips fall. But he's been playing great too. I don't know. Matsuyama is tempting for me off this year. I don't play him a lot in my lineups for some reason, and I often kick myself because he is so consistently good, and he won that Masters and just hasn't really stopped with the consistency. So he might be my choice off this tier this week.
Well, to answer your question on Scheffler, the pricing came out before he won last week, so that's part of the reason why he stayed down. But the answer to the other question on rostership, I think the only way he's not super highly owned is because there's so many names in this range is the only reason, because he's definitely underpriced. But Jeff stole a little bit of my thunder here. I thought he would go with Xander or Cantlay, but I'm going Hideki in this range pretty strong. Playing really well in tough conditions on Sunday. Hit it well at API, gained 6.3 tee to green, 4.8 approach. Great tee to green in last four of tournaments, not just good, but great. Did miss the cut here last year, but Jeff referenced his 63 in 2020 before COVID canceled that. He was 8th here in 2019. I think Hideki's hitting the ball really well. I like him in tough conditions. I like him on a tough course. I think he's playing really well right now. And I think with Cantlay, Xander, and right there, and then Spieth and Scheffler below him, I think he goes a little bit overlooked this week. I'm playing him in DraftKings, and I'm betting him this week also.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. If you want to go for a low roster, maybe Cam Smith might be fun too at 94. I mean, I think you can safely avoid DJ and still, even though he'll be tempting because he will be low rostered, I think that in and of itself isn't good enough. But I do think this is a week where you're going to have to try to find some unique paths. But I don't think DJ is one of those paths for me.
No, Cam Smith's a good call because I think he will definitely go overlooked with all the names we mentioned, and he's didn't play great his last 2 tournaments, but before that was in really good form.
Is this another week where you could do 2 in the 9s and avoid the top tier? Or it's going to be tough to avoid that top tier, but man, it seems tempting.
You can really stack it up with a balance. I think you go 2 9s and 2 8s, or 2 9s and an 8 with a high 7. I think you can really get interesting there and avoid the top tier. I'm definitely going to play a team where I do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the 8s. But before we do that, a quick note from our sponsors on the Blue Wire Network. Okay, welcome back to Gaming Golf, the TPC edition. I'm Jeff Erickson here with Jeff Ritter from SI and Morning Read and Scott Jenstad from RotoWire. We are now covering the $8,000 tier here at the TPC. Will Z's at 89, Daniel Berger 88, Louis is at 87, Brooks Koepka 86, Tony Finau 85, Joaquin Niemann 84, Sungjae Im 83, Adam Scott 82, Billy Ho 81. It's a Florida course. And Shane Lowry at 8,000. Scott, how big are you on Daniel Berger this week? Is this another Berger week for you?
It is. I love this range again. Like, there's just so many good players here. But there's 3 guys I've really highlighted. One is Berger. How is he going to respond to that blown lead from a couple weeks ago? But that Sunday round was mostly putting. He lost 3.5 strokes putting just in that round. Like, we talk about losing 3.5 strokes putting in the tournament's bad. He lost it just in that Sunday round. But he gained tee to green, hit it well, gained an approach. Aside from that weird blip in Phoenix, we didn't play well. He's been great since like the middle of last summer. 4 tournaments in 2022, 3 top 20s, 2 top 10s. Just playing great right now, and just this field pushes him down in price. 8,800 is a really good price. Jeff's probably going to talk about the guy right above him, so I'll leave Will Z to him. But if I drop down in the 8s, I like Billy Horschel again, 8,100. Second last week at API, hit it great, gained big in tee to green and approach. 3 straight huge tee to green weeks. Like, he was kind of playing well in his putting in the last 3 weeks. He's really hit the ball well. Top 16 or better in his last 4 tournaments. Really good price on him again. And then I like going back to Shane Lowry at 8,000 too. I think he made comments he should have won at Honda, aside from the deluge on 18, but hit it great at Honda. Was playing really well in the Euro Tour before he came over to play at Honda. So I think both those guys in the low 8s are very, very rosterable, and I would play them.
Yeah, and the added bonus if you do Billy Ho is NBC loves him so much you're going to see almost all of his shots on the weekend too. So there's that.
He's gritty and tough. You got to show every shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I knew Scott would tee off with Berger, but I do think he's a great pick at that price. I mean, it's been 2 weeks now since the Honda crack up, but I mean, he had that event. That event was set up for him, and maybe he just keeps them like, other than that round, he was playing as well as anybody in the world, really, leading into that Sunday. So at that price, Berger is very tempting. I don't have much to add on Will Z. I mean, we both aligned with him last week. We felt good about it. The stats said he was a sneaky good pick, and they just got blown off, the map on Sunday. I think he struggled on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, but they just got totally blown away.
It was Friday and Sunday. Because
played great on Thursday.
Yeah, watching all those 6-foot putts on the back nine on Friday was just brutal. He'd stick an iron, miss the putt. Stick an iron, miss the putt. Stick an iron, miss the putt, etc. Lather, rinse, repeat. It was just brutal. Who do you like? Anybody else you like in the 8s, Jeff?
I would take a look at Adam Scott. Just quietly doing his thing. No longer, someone that gets all the headlines, but he'll get a fair amount of time on NBC if he's in contention as well. They like him a lot too, but he's just very quietly having a solid year. And I believe he's 9 for 9 in cuts made at this event, 9 for his last 9 at Sawgrass. So a sneaky good pick to, if you're going to spend 8,200 in DraftKings, you need that guy to make the weekend. But I think Scott can not only make the weekend, but maybe even grind a top 10 out of this one.
How do you guys feel about Brooks?
I just would lean elsewhere. I don't know. I feel more confident in the other guys. I think there's a boom bust potential there, as there almost always is with Brooks when you're outside the majors. So it's probably worth throwing a few darts if you're going to set multiple lineups. I can see it, but I don't think he would be the guy I'd put in my favorite lineup.
Kind of how I feel too. Like, you could definitely see him winning, but you could see him missing the cut. And those guys are they're probably better betting on than playing in DraftKings, just because you get killed if he misses the cut. But
exactly.
It's just been so. I mean, he putted so well at Phoenix, and then he played pretty well at Honda. Then he was bad at Genesis. It's just hard to figure out. If Brooks shows up and plays well, it's tough to beat. But it's tough to put him in a DraftKings line for me right now.
Which I assume a lot of people are going to be that way. It might be when your unique lineup, the Cam Smith Brooks pairing there. I don't know. Might be a path there to differentiate yourself from the others if you want,
or just go Finau at 8,500 and be really different.
Oh yeah, well, Finau didn't kill anybody at TPC before in the past, so that's fine. We're going to be good there. Anyways, let's go to the 7,000s. We got all these guys we like. We got to find cheaper guys to make it all work. So, again, I'm going to follow my policy of not naming every single player that's in the 7,000s. Instead, I'll let you do it for me. Jeff Ritter, do you want to do full 7,000s or 75 to 79? I'll let you choose.
I got two guys. I got one off each side of the 7,000.
Okay, let's do that.
I think Sam Burns, there's got to be, Sam Burns has to pay it off for me at some point that I put him on my season-long team. I think he's a pretty good Florida golfer. There hasn't been much from him this year, but he did quietly sneak into the top 10 last week.
Yes, he did.
He was a hot player last fall. Maybe he's a guy who's finding it. I like the price a lot. I actually just noticed, I didn't flag him initially, but Matt Fitzpatrick at 7,700 also feels very cheap for a guy who's quietly, also, I would say maybe playing the best golf of his career. To be at that price is tempting. But the other guy, a little farther down the 7,000, the old favorite of the podcast, ball striking machine, Corey Connors. What is he doing at this price? Yeah, he missed a few cuts before last week. He might have found his form, though. Saw him playing on the weekend at the Arnie. Yeah. Pretty good. Look out at that price. So those are my three off the 7,000s.
Funny thing about Corey Connors is he was having a great day on Sunday, all of a sudden kind of popping up on the leaderboard. And I've seen on Twitter, why aren't they showing any of Corey Connors? They show him and he has trouble. It's just like, thanks guys. Appreciate you. But I like him there too. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, I'll start. I like Fitzpatrick again. To me, he's just in top tens. He was T9 again last week at Bay Hill. Three tournaments in the U.S. in 2022, all top tens. You get that under 8,000, like that's nice. And I have to think he set the record last week for the only guy top 10. They showed one shot of him on Sunday. I think it just like he could never
even there.
You could never get like, and they would be like, and even I forget who it was. It was either I forget who it was Jacobson. I think it was doing the announcing. He said that, I think I like Matt Fitzpatrick in the back nine here, and they still never showed him. So the guy I really like this week is at 7,500 is Max Homa. He played really well at API, gained 7.9 tee to green, 5.7 approach, lost strokes putting, and still finished 17th. 3 state top 20s. Gained really well in tee to green the last 3 events. I know he missed the cut last year in his only appearance, but I think he is way underpriced. I like Homa as a bet to win. I already put it in this week too. I like him in DraftKings a lot at 7,500. I just think he's priced really well. And you don't get a guy down here that often that can actually win the tournament. I think he can do that this week. So I love him down here. Do you want me to hit some low sevens also, or Jeff? You got a couple of more?
Well, what do you guys think about Hatton at 78? I mean, had a great Sunday. Is formerly a top 10 player in the world. He's a world-class player. He could also win, I think.
He could definitely win. I think he and Burns both just putted their ass off last week, and I'm always a little hesitant on those guys. I know that doesn't always, but Hatton gained 8 strokes putting last week, and gained tee to green is about even on approach. Didn't hit it quite as well as the second place would look. So, I'm kind of looking for little things here and there in the sevens to differentiate these two guys. So that's probably the reason I go Fitzpatrick over Hatton myself. But you get Hatton under 8,000, certainly a guy that can win the tournament.
Yeah, last year he went 76-69, so he missed the cut, but he finished, shot that 69. 2020 obviously didn't happen. 2019, what did he do in 2019? 2019 he also missed the cut. So maybe, I know this isn't necessarily a horse for course, right, but recent record's not that great. By the way, to talk about Fitzpatrick, this is the one reaction we got when we brought up Fitzpatrick. Yeah, never excites me. Yep,
I love that, but give me a top 10 every week, and I don't need to be excited. I'm good with that.
Right. All right. Any others in the low sevens, Scott?
I like Connors too, just coming off. He played really well last week. I think it was a really good sign. He had not been hitting it great for all the ball striking stuff we talked about. He played really well last week. He lost 3.1 strokes putting last week. He might have won the whole tournament if he just putted average. But so I do like him too. It's kind of one of those things like, how much do you trust the one good week back? Is he found his form, or it was a fluky good week? But he was 7th here last year, so that's a really good sign there. I go back to Cameron Young again at 7,200. Another nice finish last week. He was 13th. That's 3 straight top 20s. He's priced at 7,200. Like it's just a really low price, and just one of those things that the price came out early, and he's just not a huge name, but he wasn't good in approach last week, but gained 7 on tee to green, 4.6 off the tee. He gains every week off the tee. I mean, not quite a bomber's course that we like someone like Cameron Young on, but big tee to green gains in 4 of 5 and 4 straight big games off the tee, playing well for this price. And how do you not mention Chris Kirk here? 7,000 back-to-back top 10s. He was 5th at API, gained on the ball striking metrics. It kind of melted down on Sunday, but he was green in all the shot gain metrics. So like putting around the green, tee to green, he's been green in every single one of those metrics in the last 3 tournaments. You very rarely see a guy who's just green across the board that is not an elite player. And at 7,000, like that's a really good sign. He's playing well across all facets of the game.
Chris Kirk was my this week's player. I thought might be unowned and went searching to see if he was owned. To find out he was owned. So yeah, Kirk's a good call. I also, at this range, Taylor Gooch, I mean, we know he can play three great rounds.
Right.
I don't know. I wonder how much scar tissue he might be taking, but it feels like it's starting to come together for him. We just got to figure it out on Sunday, but that's a good price for a guy who's gotten a lot of TV time so far in 2022.
Fun fact about Cam Young is he outpointed Matt Fitzpatrick, even though he finished 16th and Fitzpatrick finished 9th. But it's, and that's the thing about Fitzpatrick is he'll string together a lot of pars. He won't go, he's not going to go crazy low. The other thing about Cam Young is there's no course experience here. He didn't play there last year. He wasn't on the tour full time. So, and I feel like this is an experience course. Would that register with you guys?
I could get behind that. Yeah. I don't know. The course kind of feels like it opens itself up to the unexpected, I guess is a good way to say it. Like it's
Mhm.
really hard to find a player profile. I mean, we could say tee to green, but then there's just these outliers are always lurking around that too. So old
Watch Cam
young,
Young go low, and
yeah,
I'll probably roster him in at least one.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think that's one you don't roster him in all of them, right?
yes, I think you don't roster in all of them, but I think that, and you like him more like like we talked about it, but Genesis when he finished second, like that's a course you hit the ball far, and he gained so much off the tee. Maybe it doesn't help as much here, but I just think he's priced so low for how well he's playing. Man, that's 3 straight top 16s. That's really legit.
For sure. Let's dig into the cheapies here, the 6,000s, the guys that make the 5-figure guys tenable. Scott, you got anybody in the 6,000s you like this week?
I have 2, and one of them will be the least shocking pick in the history of podcasts.
I'll just write it down now.
Keegan Bradley, 6,900. Like I said, it was boring. I said it was boring last week, and he went and finished 11th. Like, give me that every time. Under 7,000. He gained 4.5 shots on tee to green last week, but he actually putted well, which is kind of strange. He didn't really hit it that well on approach, but putted really well and just making cuts consistent every week. And if it's 7,000 and under, like you give me someone that's to make the cut, kind of all I want. And that's 5 straight cuts. That's 2 of those in the top 12, like really good sign there. My other guy here is Sebastian Munoz at 6,700 is quietly hitting the ball really well. He's made 4 straight cuts. Tee to green the last 3 weeks. He's gained 4.4 at API, 8.9 at Genesis, 9.7 at Phoenix. So finished 26th, 21st, and 23rd. Has lost strokes putting 4 straight weeks, so struggles on the green. But you give me guys hitting the ball that well, making cuts, finishing in the top 30 at 6,700. I'm going to play that in some lineups for sure.
So good picks. I need a check on Lucas Herbert. Is it Herbert or A Bear, like the old Saints quarterback?
One of them is and one of them isn't, so I always get confused because there's two A Bears.
Well, when you say Lucas, we know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
though, right? We'll just go by first name there.
There you go.
Although that's not true. There is Glover, but
that's right. That's right.
We don't need to talk about him, so we're fine.
Yeah, the backdoor top 10 from Lucas last weekend intrigues me. You're looking for. I just say look for guys on form, but then I don't know. Like this is the tier where I think who is this year's Jim Furyk, Lee Westwood? Who's going to be the guy that just is like, there he is again. He's 40-something years old. We didn't see it coming, but here he is again on a leaderboard. And I'm going to throw a dart at, as long as Sepp Straka could win, why can't Matt Kuchar, the original, why can't he somehow, some way just find himself into the conversation on the weekend?
The American Sepp Straka.
Good record. The American Sepp Straka. I'll put him down for a top 20 and be prepared to eat crow. But I think this is a place, this is an area where you can fire a few darts and maybe get lucky. And I'm even looking at like Stuart Sink down here, something. Just feel like there's one of those guys that's gonna pop. And can you find him? So I'll throw a dart at Kuchar and we'll see where it goes.
I think the other guy that might pop is an old friend of the podcast. We've been off a little bit lately. Is actually Mito Pereira at 6,700.
I just looked at him.
Very
clicked through on
very
him.
quietly. The last 2 weeks, bounced back 15th at Genesis, 30th at Honda, and he lost 4.3 strokes putting at Honda. Hit the ball really well. Gained 7.5 shots tee to green. I think he's found his game, and if he finds his game, he's a really good player. That lost his game. He was terrible at Pebble and at Phoenix, but I think he's found it the last couple of weeks. I think he's sneaky 6,700 too.
Let me ask you a general question. Is there a course, a tournament out there where he's really rolling it well? I want to get the guy that's got the hot putter. Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever look at that as a positive indicator?
I think it's always good. I just look for outliers with that. Like if the guy gains a ton or loses a ton, I think that tends to normalize out more than other stats do. I just think that if you're a great ball striker, that stat tends to carry over more. There are a few guys who are good putters. Denny McCarthy's a guy that jumps out always good putting numbers. But I think when I get the extremes, I think that those tend to not repeat. So I tend to play that. But yeah, if a guy's there are guys like Keegan or Luke Lister we're going to talk about in a second, I promise. That just every week putt badly. You have to take that into account. But I think it's for me, it's more the consistent bad putters than consistent good putters.
By that, I'd say the Masters is one where I'd look for putters a little bit too,
and experience with putting there because it's just such a different place there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anything else from a DK perspective before we move on to the gaming sheet?
Mix it up. This is a good week to play more than one lineup.
I think how you construct your roster is key here because there are guys at every range more so than almost every week we play.
Sure. All right, let's go to the betting sheet. Jeff Ritter, let's start with you. Who's on your gaming sheet?
I got 3. I'm going today's odds from the SI Sportsbook. Rory McIlroy 20-1. I like it. I think he's close. It just feels like things are lining up for him. I'm in. Brooks Koepka, we talked about risk reward. It's not someone that we really want to play in DraftKings, but 40-1.
Yep.
40-1. I mean, that feels like a good bargain. And then also, I still have this funny old guy feeling about this event. So Adam Scott, back to him, 50-1, mentioned him earlier. But I like those odds on Scott as well. So those are my 3.
People that Chris Liss has heard of is your wheelhouse there. But
nice.
He's not even on with RotoWire anymore, but he's my good friend, so I like to rip on him anyway for his esteemed golf knowledge. Scott, you got to have. This is like one of those tournaments. Do you feel like you want to have more plays because it's the TPC?
So it's funny you said that. I was going to lead with the fact that I like so many guys in the middle that I think can win that I'm only going to go one guy up top, and then I'm going to play a bunch of guys in the middle to get a few more shots at this thing. So I'm actually going to play I'd love to play Morikawa, but he's a little bit low at 16-1. I just can't fit that many low guys. So I'm going to play Hideki at 25-1. I've actually already taken him. I got him at 30-1, but he's now down to 25-1. So I'll play it for the podcast at 25-1. Then I'm going to jump back. I'm going to go back to Will Zalatoris. I think 40-1 is too high a price for a guy who's just, kind of depressed after last weekend in his betting prices. I'm going to play Shane Lowry at 50-1. I think that's a really good price for a guy that can win this tournament. Billy Horschel, 55-1. Max Homa, 80-1. Already took him out at 105, but I'll go with 80 because that's the price. So I'm going with those 5. I wanted some more shots at this, and I think that some of those lines are just really, really a bit high. And then finally, if I could tell you that there is someone who in the last 24 rounds is second in this field in tee to green, third in ball striking, 8th off the tee, 10th in approach, and 8th around the green, and is 180-1, and has already won a tournament on a really difficult course this year, is that something that you might be interested in?
Listen to you.
I didn't know we were going to play Jeopardy here.
That is 5 stats over the last 24 rounds. This person is top 10, and it's Luke List at 180-1. Has already won this year. Cannot putt. He lost 7 shots putting last week in 2 rounds, which is hard to do. But I don't know. You give me all that ball striking thing. There's all the ball striking stuff. It's so good, just so bad putting. But you give me 180-1. Like, that's such a good price. You throw $2 or $3 on that, just kind of a FOMO bet. You don't want to miss out on that if he does happen to putt kind of league average this week. I think that the price is just way too high for List this week.
Interesting, because you didn't mention him on the DK side when he was at 7-2. I mean, that's a pretty good price there too.
It is. I think he's more of a betting play because I think he actually could win, but I think he could shoot +6 pretty easily too. And then you turn on the TV and he misses back-to-back 3-foot putts. It's frustrating in DraftKings, but I think he actually has a teeny bit of win equity. You get that 181. I'm gonna throw a couple bucks on that every time and kind of save myself in case he's on the leaderboard in the weekend. I don't want to have missed that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Will Z. I mean, you just don't want to watch him miss another putt. It's so tough to watch. Yeah. And so you might shy off of him the following weekend. That's what creates opportunity. So there you have it. All right, let's move on to our one and done picks this time. It was Will Z, and I think I went Will Z, but I had Hoblin as my backup pick and didn't go that route, obviously, but would have done better than Will Z. So who do we got this week, guys? Let's start with Jeff this time.
I'm going to pass because I want to make sure I'm different than Scott, because for the double Zalatoris thing didn't work well for us. And I have a feeling I'm down to 2 guys that Scott might be looking at. So I want to hear his pick first, and I'll go a different way.
Big tournament, huge purse. I think if you want to fire an elite player this week for sure. You want to win this week, but I'm going to go. I don't know if it's considered second tier. I consider him kind of right below the elites maybe, but I'm going Hideki Matsuyama as my one and done. I think he wins this week.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
That's so funny.
It's a huge purse. I was down to Hideki, or I'm just going to fire the cannon and go with Colin Morikawa. And so I'm going to do it. I'm going to play Morikawa, and I'm going to enter it now so we don't have any glitches like we did a few weeks ago when I picked Scheffler here but didn't enter it in time.
I'm just going to show you that I have Morikawa as highlighted right here. Just clicked on. I'm thinking, nice. Okay, well that can be differentiate myself. I'm going to go Morikawa, but my backup would be Billy Ho.
I like it.
If you want to go a little different, I mean, he's a Florida guy. He's in great form. I might even go Billy Ho, but yeah, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm gonna go Billy Ho.
What did we do?
Nothing. I just wanted to be different. That's all. What
I like it.
You're like McNulty. What the F did I do? Wire reference. Did you ever see that? You saw The Wire, right?
I saw The Wire, yes.
Okay, cool.
I would like to congratulate both of you guys on not using better than most the whole podcast. That was well done.
Yeah. Be the right club today also would have been a good one there too.
That was Hal Sutton, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there you go. Those have been the two most used lines probably ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other parting comments before we cut off for today?
If there's no baseball season, are we going to do more of these? You guys will have some free time, right?
I figure we're going to go through the championship. Maybe we'll skip like the Deer or something like that. But for the most part, we'll just keep rolling on these.
I don't think Jeff's letting me off the Sunday podcast. Even there's no season, we're going to have to come up with content.
Yeah. So golf it is. There you go.
Thanks, everybody. Play Max Homa and DraftKings is my last piece.
All right, there you go. Max Homa it is. You could have used him in one and done too and been a little different too. So that would be
good. I kind of like that too.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Gaming Golf. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks for the comments in the forum. I do appreciate that. Too old to run. Appreciate you on the Matthew Fitzpatrick take. We'll be back at you again next week. Good luck in your TPC entries. Take care.